Welcome back, Western Civ. We're going to do this real quick and to the point because we really got to get started on some other Middle Ages stuff tomorrow. But we kind of talked about how the Middle Ages are all about a transitional phase. We talked about the bias of it being called the Dark Ages today. We discussed why it happened due to the fall of Rome. We discussed different barbarian tribes and things like that. And remember, for extra credit tonight, you can look up another barbarian tribe that we haven't talked about and talk about some different customs and things that they have, right? So anyway, so we talked about this guy, Clovis, which was the first, you could say, barbaric leader to consolidate a group of people. He consolidated the Franks, okay? Make sure you know that, the Franks. He converted to Christianity following his wife's eloquent speeches of trying to convince him why to do so, and unfortunately one of his sons died after being baptized, but we talked about that today, so we won't get too far into it. But remember, I said I wasn't a big fan. I never really thought that Clovis was really a great leader. I mean, like, he founded France, I'll give him that. He conquered a huge area, but he didn't spread any kind of intelligence. Like, if you conquer a huge area, what should be happening? That's right, cultural diffusion, right? So, but it didn't. And he even created law, a new type of law, but he called it Roman law. Just dumb, right? I mean, like, he's not a great leader, but he's important. He's an important example of, let me put it this way. He's an important example of the fact that the barbarians were not as barbaric as the Romans once said, right? So they had the potential to grow, and they started setting up hereditary rulers, right? So sorry about that. This is the Frankish kingdom in 768 AD. So as you can tell, it's very, very large, and this is modern day France. Don't worry, we're going to start doing maps soon, maybe tomorrow. So anyway, now this right here is France. That's current day Germany, England, Spain. Little baby country right around here is called Andorra. You'll like that one a lot. So this guy, on the other hand, is a boss, all right? This is Charlemagne, all right? He is the main as far as you're concerned. He's a powerful leader, very strong Christian as well. So he created the Carolinian Empire out of what was left of the Roman Empire. So Charlemagne is probably single-handedly responsible for shortening the Middle Ages because he literally took the former Roman pieces and created the Carolinian Empire, which is then later going to be called the Holy Roman Empire, right? He encouraged the regrowth of the Roman Catholic Church and kind of established that new Vatican City idea and the idea that the Catholic Church should be consolidated in one area. So he was crowned by Pope Leo III as the first Holy Roman Emperor. He ruled over the former Roman lands in Europe, right? Now, he's also known as Charles the Great. He's known as the father of Europe. I mean, when you really think about it, he is. He actually kind of took what was chaos and structured it again, right? So he has united barbarian tribes in Western Europe, and he brought about some stability. He may be the savior of so many things. Now, some people like to say that he actually killed a lot of barbarians when they refused to convert to Christianity. We won't talk about that because we all know that the Middle Ages, somebody's going to die eventually to be able to retain order, right? So his dad's name was actually Pepin the Short. Apparently, the inspiration for Pippin, the show that's coming up soon. So, Pepin the Short. What a lame-o. Loosely translated, it means Pepin the Short. It actually means Pepin the Younger, but Pepin the Short's way funnier. So, as you can see right here, these are his conquests as well. He increased the expansion into the Germanic empires. He actually usurped this entire area, and right here is the Papal State. This is where the Vatican City was actually located. So, expanded down here. Now, he got very, very close to rubbing shoulders with the Muslims, remember? Because what empire was right here? The Umayyads, right? Don't forget that. Remember, Dark Ages is biased because the Eastern empires were doing fantastic and the Byzantines were still around. This is only 805, and the Byzantine didn't fall until 1016. So, very important that we remember that, right? Last guys, the Vikings, right? The Vikings were a warrior culture from Scandinavia. And some of you are like, wait a minute, why aren't we talking about these guys? And the fact that they never had horned helmets, fun fact, yay. So their biggest responsibility in Europe is they actually raided it a lot, right? So the Vikings were well known for large base conquests over huge amounts of land, but then returning back to Scandinavia. Now, they established settlements throughout Europe and even in North America. They actually were the ones that came across North America first from Europe. They did this around 500, not 500, excuse me. They did that around like 600 to 700 AD, and they actually got chased out by the modern day Native Americans. So, not the modern day, but the Native Americans. So, the best and most important thing about them, though, is right here. Bottom bullet point. Their raids led to the establishment of what is called feudalism. Okay? Now, we're going to discuss feudalism and why it was so important for settling everything out in medieval Europe during the early Middle Ages tomorrow. Okay? I've got a diagram I'm going to show to you that makes it a lot easier to remember. That right there is a Viking longboat. Great thing about the Viking longboat is it actually took very few men. The sail was broad enough to be able to carry the boat great distances. It used minimal materials as well. So, lastly, these are the Viking raids map. So, as you can see, the Vikings were home to right here. They would go through Iceland and down through Britain. They were leading raids all over and even down into Constantinople, right? So, their raids are going to lead to the establishment of the feudal system. And it's very, very, very important that we actually study that quite earnestly. So, that's it. That's all for the evening. So we're going to get kicked up with the High Middle Ages tomorrow, and we're going to keep rocking and rolling. And if I have it my way, we will test on the Middle Ages before Christmas break. You hear me? All right? So I look forward to seeing y'all soon. Y'all have a great evening. By the way, don't forget about the Bayeux Tapestry. You have to look up what that is, right? When we talked about the reason why that thing's so important is because that's one of the very first early recordings of history, and this kind of serves as a really, really good visual example of the disruption and the chaos that history was really dealing out during this time period. So we'll talk about it further on, though. Look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Have a great evening.